Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another live. Today's a little wonky. We were planning on Braden being here, and then he wasn't going to be here, and then he was going to be here, and then my husband was going to do it with me, and then we were going to do it at City Brew. Anyways, it didn't work out, so here I am. The boys are both coming, so Rick and Braden will be here soon. But to start us off, I'm super excited to talk about healing through community today. I've worked really hard to build my tribe and working on my boundaries. So I have a lot of experience to go off of. Oh, look, there's my husband. Most spiritual healing journeys start in isolation. Solitude becomes sacred until it becomes a cage. So we're talking today on the silent wound of isolation and the medicine of belonging. Braden should be here soon, so I think we'll wait. My husband's bringing me coffee, not from City Brew, because rude. Coffee shops, man, they just don't stay open late enough. My love.
I'm going to repark my bike because it is precariously perched.
Oh, thank you.
I learned from last time.
Last time my husband bought me coffee, I was coaching volleyball, and he brought me coffee without a lid. In his defense, he was riding a motorcycle, and when he left the coffee shop, there was a lid. You know, I don't even know what park we're at today because we're not at Pioneer Park. It's off of Central. No, it's off of Broadwater and Parkview. So I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say this is a Parkview Park. All right, well, I'm digging into it. Braden will get here when he gets here.
Sounds like a plan. Everybody.
Woohoo! Hubby's on his lunch break, so he'll only be here for a short while. I would have posted our location, but it was up in the air.
Yes. Quite the adventure finding a place for this. It's a good time.
Thanks, Elijah. So to start, have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely alone? Have you ever caught yourself scrolling on your phone, not for content, but connection, just hoping that someone, anyone, reaches out first? That quiet ache. That's not weakness. That's longing to be seen, held, mirrored. This isn't about followers. This isn't about how many people know your name. This is about village. And maybe you've never had one. Maybe you've been burned by the ones that you thought were safe. Or maybe you burned the bridge. And now you're standing there thinking you don't deserve to rebuild. If that's you, then this conversation, this space, it's for you. Because healing through community isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. And it starts the moment that you stop pretending that you're fine on your own. So what is hyper-independence? Hyper-independence is the conditioned response to betrayal, neglect, abandonment, or inconsistent safety. It's the soul's way of saying, relying on others got me hurt, so I'll handle everything myself, even if it kills me. It looks like I don't need anyone. I do better on my own. People always let me down. But those truths, those are not truths. Somebody's excited.
Quite.
Or they're swinging.
I believe they're swinging an infant.
Well, it sounds like fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
So those statements, those are not truths. Those are survival strategies. They're built from betrayal. They're built from abandonment and the soul deep exhaustion of constantly being your own damn rescue squad. So if you find yourself not asking for help, even when you desperately need it, maybe there is some insecurity in asking for help. It shows that you're weak. You're going to owe somebody if you ask them for help. You avoid emotional intimacy or vulnerability. You feel the need to control every situation so that you feel safe. And you end up resenting others for not showing up. But you never gave them a chance to. This one hits close to home for me because that's always been a huge struggle. If we have a lot of single moms out there, a lot of single dads, you had somebody, a partner that was supposed to be in it with you. Maybe it was supposed to be forever. And they let you down. And that pain just doesn't make you feel safe. You never ever want to give somebody else another chance to hurt you like that. But it cuts you off. It isolates you. And a friend told me one time that all that joy that I get in helping others and being that person for others, when you don't give them an opportunity to show up for you, what's the word?
Rob them of that joy.
Yeah, you rob them of the joy of helping you. That same joy that you feel from helping other people. So
you also rob them of the opportunity to give back, the opportunity to, in their minds, repay you for the good deeds that you've done for them. If you're like me, you step up whenever somebody asks, and you do everything you can to help those around you. And they feel guilty, really, really guilty, when they don't get a chance to pay you back, when you don't give them the opportunity to step in when you need help, when you never admit to needing help. They can see you struggle, but if you don't ask, a lot of people won't step in. They won't be the one that forces their way in to help you through that struggle. And ultimately, it's only hurting yourself when you isolate and you try to be the strong one. And it took me years to realize that it wasn't just hurting me, it was hurting those around me. And it takes a village to successfully navigate this life. It takes a group, a dedicated, loving group, to stand together and to be there for each other. And it takes a lot of inner strength to be able to admit that you need help, whether it's with something small or as big as moving to another state. But either way, giving them that opportunity is a blessing, not just for yourself, for having the people that you can ask for that, but to those people who want to repay you for your kindness and your time given.
and how do you know that they don't feel like they owe you for being there for them? That they don't feel like in the back of their mind they're keeping tally and like, okay, I really need to be the one to step up. And you're not giving them an opportunity. And that, when I play that phrase in my head, it helps me soften up to the idea of asking for help. So where does hypervigilance come from? It comes from parents who were emotionally or physically unavailable. You had to step up and be the parent. You had to grow up too fast. Oh, Braden's here.
Braden's here, and he's been watching. I've got something to say.
on the whole aspect of like telling people no thank you and denying them the privilege of
Opportunity.
helping. You're also denying yourself blessings and reciprocity.
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 Reciprocity. That sounds right.
Yes. So not only are you taking away from them, but you're taking away from yourself. When you take away from those moments, you miss out on happiness and acts of kindness ripple not just between two people that get to do the act and receive the act, but people around them, and then the people that get to go around other people. So like you're denying a lot more than just yourself and the other person.
Yeah.
Do we want to move that to the end of the table so we can kind of balance the table out?
It glares into the sun. You just get to see our faces, kind of. So it comes from parents who are emotionally or physically unavailable, caregivers who punish you for needing too much, anybody who has told you that you are too much in some way, shape, or form. That wound sticks and it cuts deep. You are too much. The feeling, the need to dampen yourself, to make yourself more digestible for everyone else. You shrink.
And it can come from little things, subtle things that you don't really think about, like being praised for being low maintenance, or always being touted as the strong one who always has it together. When in reality, you also needed help. You just couldn't find it in yourself to ask.
Yeah, those identities of being the strong one as the oldest. From my experience, you end up caring for your other siblings. You're the first one to mature and you end up having to herd the rest of the kids.
Same.
And then you pride yourself in being the strong one, the one that can handle all the things, that can take the load. You have all of it weighing on your shoulders, and it's fine because you're the strong one. You do fine on your own. You always make it out. If it needs to be done right, you got to be the one to do it. Nobody else can do that. So, where did you learn that others couldn't be trusted?
I got a microphone.
Where did you feel that wound hit? And when did self-reliance stop being empowering and start becoming isolating? If you can reflect on that.
Oh, I know. This guy right here.
What you got?
When self-reliance goes from something that's empowering to something that's crippling, it's when you start shunning opportunities and you find excuses as to why it's just easier for you to step into those things. And it's not just your words, it's your whole demeanor, it's your body. Your body says no before your mind does. And it's like this shutdown. And then you fall into the motions.
That or you start feeling like less of people's friends and more just the person that they go to when they need something.
Or you're expecting to be let down, and then when it does happen, you're like, oh, see, I should have just done it myself. Like, I knew this was how it was going to be. Well, of course. You create your reality.
Yeah, speaking of which, when you feel like you're the one people just go to when they need something, a lot of times it's because they've been told no so many times when they've asked if you needed help or offered help that they stopped offering. And now you've isolated yourself. You've created an island. And while it is an island, it's a fortress. But that fortress has no doors or windows, and it's lonely. Very lonely.
Not even the birds come to visit.
Right? You confuse peace with isolation in the end. Yes. And then you start to believe that you deserve to suffer alone. That hyper independence feels safe, but it's really lonely as fuck. The true strength isn't doing it all alone. It's knowing when to let somebody hold your heart for a minute. It's knowing that vulnerability is not exposure. It's expansion.
And you shouldn't shun away or shy away from those like awkward feelings of awkwardness, feelings of like sadness or reproach or any of those things. Like, it sucks to experience them, but guys, you just experience them. It doesn't stay with you unless you choose to make it stay with you. And really, when you have those moments where things don't go as expected, people don't receive you the way you'd like to be received, it's just a simple nod to recognizing you guys are not on the same wavelength. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yes, some people can be more rude about it than others, but when you can learn to see it in that respect, it makes it easier to get vulnerable and do the things. There's a lot of power in being able to accept where you're at and what you're going to receive in a way that doesn't make you have to attach to it.
Your brain doesn't really know the difference from your imagination.
Which is wild.
When you are imagining and thinking through all these conversations about why you can't ask for help or why you deserve to suffer alone in isolation, your body is feeling that, those stories that you're playing over and over, and it's gonna feel awkward taking the first step.
This is a side note and totally not entirely relevant, but imagination, I saw somebody break it down as imagination, or the magicians, people in that tribe. So those who can really use their imagination as the tool that it is get to start stepping into those, I don't know,
like
miracles,
to point out
blessings.
that, you know, when you imagine things like that, you already go through the experience before it even happened.
Yeah.
So if you're going to imagine or create an experience that your body actually feels,
make it a good one.
Start switching it to a good one.
Yes.
It can start small. I deserve to suffer alone in isolation.
And remember, guys, it's, even if you can't be positive, don't be negative. All right. There is so much more power in your life when you don't feed the negative. You don't have to be positive. That's not always like the ticket. And actually, if you're being positive but still using negative self-talk, you are doing nothing for yourself. Like, that negative talk is so much stronger that it null and voids any of the good positive that you give yourself. So really remember that. Try to stay away from the negative as much as possible. It's crippling.
They say fake it till you make it. And faking a smile will release the same chemical reaction as genuinely smiling. You still get the endorphins.
So use it as your spark, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Force,
Don't let it stop there.
Force a 15-second smile
I'm
and
not
one
a
happy
huge fan
thought.
of the fake it till you make it. Create a happy story that you can smile about. There's not a lot of things sometimes when you are down in the dumps and it has been so hard for so long and you've been feeling isolated and lonely.
I would like to say,
it's gonna be hard to find things to hold on to. But even the I deserve to suffer alone in solitude, just shifting that down a notch. I am alone.
or
And
even
it makes me sad. That is a better shift than I deserve to suffer alone.
or even you can get rid of the word deserve and just say, I'm suffering alone.
Yeah.
And then that's acknowledgement. And when there's acknowledgement in it,
That's
when your brain starts to start working towards solutions.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that fake it till you make it, I will say that there's a beautiful power in doing it, because there are things that we are actually good at that we don't give ourselves enough credit for. And doing the fake it till you make it exposes that and allows you to be able to recognize that, oh, maybe you do have a talent for this. Maybe you might be missing some steps, but maybe that fake it till you make it approach really does work because you've already got enough groundwork in it. So, you know.
And a lot of that is different strategies that you can use, like what Whitney had brought up. Think of a good story. Think of something that makes you happy to generate that smile, something that you can truly feel blessed about. I woke up this morning and I've got an amazing life. I've got great friends.
Hey, he's talking about me.
Shirt this time.
Yeah. I got my laundry done.
I'm wearing my favorite shoes.
I made rent money today.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's a great
It
day.
sucked all day
right?
long, but I have money to
Oh
pay
my
rent, and
gosh.
all that feels
It
good.
did suck. I was such a grumpy individual towards the end of that second job. And you know what, guys? I'm going to vent because I know he's never going to see this. My driver was a no-touch driver. And you know, guys, that just means like they don't touch anything. Nothing. Not a thing. And I'm okay with that if the price is right. But when the price is not right, oh boy, does it strike a nerve. So, I mean, I guess there's something there to go deep diving into. But I got to experience that today. And I don't know if the lessons was patience or let go of judgment. I'm not sure.
Acceptance.
Acceptance, accept what is,
Yeah.
recognize that people are going to be who they're going to be. But don't let it
The only
eat up your
control you have
energy.
is how you respond to the
Ah,
situation.
man, and that second job took so much more out of me because of it, you guys. Like
Mm.
I spent so much more energy on the second job than I did the first.
Well, especially if you're working angry,
Yes.
that always is way more taxing
Yes.
than taking a second to reevaluate the situation, accept it, and move forward peacefully.
And when you're working angry, I feel like you just feel yourself just fumigating
It's like
all
an
your
adrenaline
energy.
spike.
Just like
It's hard. Me
sorry.
and the sun just don't. We get along well, but man.
That's how I feel about the wind. You know, like the
I
wind.
know the wind is supposed to be my element, and it really frustrates me.
You know, I've decided if you look at the wind as like a 4-year-old adult, it really starts to make a lot of sense. And then I'm not as angry at it. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I had to have a conversation with the wind yesterday. I was trying to strap a semi truck down, and every time I'd throw a strap, the wind would grab it. But then the wind would die down. It would just stop.
And wait
And
for
then
you.
I'd throw another
Yep.
one, and it would grab it and throw it aside. Really? This is what we're doing today?
I experienced that a lot with drying. Gosh, for a while they
Yeah.
refused to dry. And I was like, the wind. It's the wind.
It knows me, and it's holding a grudge.
And it's attacking. Yeah, I finally had to make a pact with
Purposely
it.
working against it.
We're friends now.
Perspective, man.
We're good.
Yeah.
Perspective.
He keeps the rain away when I need him to, and in return, I deal with the really windy days with a smile on my face.
All right, back on track.
Yeah.
So the big point is we don't heal in solitude. We remember ourselves there.
We don't heal in solitude?
We don't do all the healing in solitude. We
Okay.
remember ourselves there, but
You're
we
not
grow
wrong.
through being seen in the arms of others.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if you really think about it, in solitude, you really go into you.
You're not
You really
wrong.
sit with yourself and you create a reverent space for yourself. And then you take everything that you learn and you put it into practice with people.
And that's the
how
only way
you
you can
interact
put it
in
into
situations.
practice, because you have to have people to spark the situations for you to be able to actually, oh my gosh, you guys, we can't be hermits anymore. We're going to go out and do the things, get comfortable with being awkward with people we don't know. Hey, I like your face. I don't know why, but want to be friends?
You can't truly control how your day is going to go, but you can absolutely control how weird of a day everybody else around you is going to have.
Oh, yes.
And I love doing that. I'm that guy.
Ditto.
No, solitude, I feel, is half the exercise. It's like doing bicep curls and only going up. It's not going to train
How do you get reps
you
doing biceps
emotionally.
curls only going up?
Exactly.
Ah.
So only doing half the exercise is only going to give you half the growth that you could experience. And eventually the other side's going to atrophy. And that atrophy is dangerous.
And based off your own analogy, if you only do half the exercise, then you can't do reps of your exercise because you're only doing half of it.
Exactly.
Ooh. So how do you expect to practice and get better at the thing if you're only going
If
halfway?
you're practicing in a proper way.
Can't be half-assing it anymore, guys. We're past those times.
So I want to touch on attachment wounds in spiritual spaces.
Ooh.
Yes. Even in the witchy, wise, sovereign communities, we carry our wounds into the circle.
Oh, yes. Indubitably.
So my beautiful, intelligent, emotionally intelligent, mentally intelligent people out there, I want you to call out emotional avoidance that is masquerading as non-attachment.
Oh, die.
Ghosting as a form of spiritual bypass. The false hierarchy masked as just energy mismatched.
What about the avoiding confrontation? Is that in there somewhere?
It is.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Spiritual spaces don't automatically heal our trauma. They often mirror it back, which is why we have to be intentional about how we show up. Attachment wounds don't disappear just because you saged the bedroom or you joined a coven. They follow you into spiritual communities, especially if those spaces promise healing and safety or connection. Why? Because the moment that you enter this space expecting belonging, those old blueprints kick in. What if they leave? What if I don't fit? What if I'm too much again? The avoidant attachment looks like in spiritual spaces, like when you ghost people before they can ghost you.
Okay.
You call it energy mismatch, but it's really fear of intimacy. When you stay quiet in group settings and you don't reach out and you keep your healing private because being seen feels dangerous. If you want to get the full effect out of
Joining a coven.
having a community, joining a coven, you have to show up authentically.
Have to show
So
up.
that isolation, that looking inwards has its place. But if you're not using that isolation time to do the deep digging and look inwards, when you show up to communities, you're not going to feel the connection if you haven't worked on recognizing why you're pulling away.
And you guys, getting vulnerable with other people is really hard. You're basically saying, all right, I'm the punching bag. Please don't hit me. You know, it's really how it feels when I have to get vulnerable with somebody. And then you're like sharing, and you're talking about the things that are hard for you to be able to do, get through, what have you.
You can also overshare.
Oh yes. Well, and the oversharing
as something like a trauma.
I think
you're anxiously trying to create an attachment.
I think the oversharing comes from a form of stemming that allows for an endorphin rush, because you're looking for the validation and the, oh, no, oh, I can't believe that happened to you. Oh, you poor thing. And it's not necessarily that you're looking for them to tell you these things about yourself as much as you're looking for the surprised reaction, because in that reaction is the dopamine hit.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of that, there's also the unintentional word vomit that can happen in moments of embarrassment.
Oh, yeah.
When you're justifying your part in the story, or you just want to get past a certain part in the story as you're sharing.
Ooh.
And it keeps leading to more stuff that's digging it deeper, and you just can't shut that faucet off.
Man, those moments I've learned to just bite my tongue and sit in the awkward. Like, all right, guys, we're all just going to be real awkward together because I already started it. So, and then I don't say a word. I wait for somebody else to speak. Yep.
I like that.
Yes.
That is a wonderful tool.
Because once they speak, then the tone has been set. You know how they took it. You know where you can go with it. And then you don't have to feel, I mean, it cuts the awkwardness off really quick after that happens. So you're
you're owning yourself a little bit there. Like, woo, that was weird. All right, guys, we're going to wait for it to stop being weird. Somebody say something.
Oh, no, I don't even say anything. I don't acknowledge it. I just
like to let it sit in the weirdness.
I recognize the weird moment where I'm like going to be embarrassed, and then I just shut up. I just don't say anything, and I look at whoever I'm talking to, and I just stare at them, and I wait. And like,
it's only feedback. Awkward if you make it awkward.
Yep, basically. Yeah, I like it. And sometimes they're not even listening and they don't notice. You can just be like, oh yeah, so anyway. Yeah. You'd be amazed how often that happens.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of people don't like sitting in the awkward.
Yeah, nobody does. Man, but learning how to sit in the awkward is going to serve you so much, because the awkward is what makes us want to hermit. The awkward
and in a weird sense, people connect on it.
They do.
Because if they can see you feeling awkward or feeling embarrassed or you're messing up,
you're being human.
They can find a way to connect to that. I know a time that I felt awkward, and I know what it feels like. Man, that is a really crappy way to feel.
And here's the thing, if you have the awkward moment and they judge you for it, then you just know that they're not aware enough to recognize when they themselves were in that same situation, and that's not your wavelength, and it's not your business, and you just saved yourself a whole headache of a friendship that could have been a lot of frustrations,
Or it's an
just a
opportunity to
conversation.
talk about it.
Yeah, either or.
I do want to touch on, in the spiritual community, the anxious attachment to mentors, teachers,
Oh, yes.
gurus, group leaders. You look for signs that you're being excluded, or you're looking up to them and putting them on a pedestal that they could do no wrong. You get sucked into it.
Their words are
The
law.
over-explaining the intentions to stay in good standing. We're still good, right? Let me over-explain what happened here so that you understand. I just need you to understand what I was thinking.
A really good practice to like gauge where you're at with the lofty height that you put people on when you step into that spiritual realm is to take something that really hits and sits with you, like something that they've said that sits with you, and then ask yourself to challenge it. Because in asking yourself to challenge it, you will know exactly, like you will either defend that person and think they are so right, or you will start to see little holes in their explanation, and then that's room for being able to grow and modify it to your own. But it's really there just as a quick notice, like, all right, cool, if I can poke holes in what was being said, then that lets me know I still have I have autonomy, I have my own voice, I can make my own decisions. I'm not placating to what somebody's saying and saying that is the end all be
Of
all.
the documentaries that I've watched about cults, that was one of the big factors to figure out whether or not it was a cult
Really?
like thing. Whether or not you could challenge somebody or have different opinions. And as soon as somebody who wants to be controlling says, no, you can't challenge them, this is the right way, there's way too much control. And that was one of the big signs it was a cult, is you had to do their thing.
Without question.
So don't confuse spiritual approval with love.
How long ago was this?
What?
It says, I've been there a lot in my life.
That was towards the beginning.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just catching up. I realized I was on the wrong side of
it
my
was the
chat
isolation over healing with community.
Oh, yes, I
being
got you.
isolated.
Self-isolation.
The last one
huge.
is disorganized attachment. You crave connection and you reject it at the same time.
This guy.
You feel unworthy of the group, but you're also resentful when you're not included.
Oh, whoa. That's totally different from what I was picturing.
They're different things.
You
You crave
you're right.
connection. But... You oscillate between oversharing and total silence.
So, like, you want to be invited, but you know you're not going to go.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's like you want the recognition of being invited. You don't want to go to the thing. You just want, you want somebody to
or
include
you go,
you.
but you're not going to participate. You're going to sit on the outlines and you're not going to join at all.
You guys, when you do
and
that,
then be upset that nobody's pulling you in.
And when you do that, you give off a vibe. People like vibe check is real, and people are gonna be like, this person does not want to be messed with. They're here, and that's cool, but there's something going on. That ties into a lot of different ways of being. When you're shut off and you're hitting that avoidance area, you give off that vibe. When you're desperate, you give off a vibe. People pick up on those things.
Well, everyone, I actually have to get back to work, but it was a pleasure to be here. Love you. I'm glad you made it. Sorry if I held you at gunpoint. Ooh. But yeah, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Huh?
We can say what we want. That's America.
I'm saying, apparently Facebook has other ideas. I can't even get into
unconstitutional guidelines.
Oh yes, those indubitably.
Love you guys. Be safe. Be well. I love you.
I love you too, beautiful.
I love you too.
All right, I'll see you later. Yeah. Oh. Anyway, and we're back.
There are some little masks that you can wear in the spiritual community.
Yeah, like hiding behind your own spirituality. You can.
I'm just protecting my energy.
Beat the Bible all day long.
That's fine until it's cold for emotional shutdown.
Yep.
Mask.
Yep.
I'm just protecting my energy.
this is just a lot to deal with right now, so I need to just like go in for a second, which is okay if that's really what's going on, but like, how dramatic are you being about the situation? My big
I
one.
feel like these are some harsh things to say, but it won't. I feel like it wouldn't. What's the word?
How nice
It wouldn't trigger you. No, not trigger.
Now,
It wouldn't rub you the wrong way if you recognize that that's not you. So being authentic with yourself, you know when you are actually protecting your energy, and it's not
Yeah.
just code for emotional shutdown. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I have to protect my energy, so we're just not going to talk. That's
Yeah.
just avoiding it.
Yeah. Well, and that's that when you have those moments, recognize that's resistance. Resistance means there's something there. That means there's something there for you to work on. I have decided, and I could be wrong, and you can push this in other directions, but at the meat of it all, at the core of it, anger is a byproduct of resistance. Because where there is resistance, there is always frustration, anger, outbursts. Always.
I feel like I've heard that anger is a mask of fear, which would kind of
Yeah.
coincide with resistance.
Yeah. Well, yes, but fear is also resistance, right? Like,
Yeah, that's what it just said. Resistance, fear.
one and the same, same in the one.
I like the description of resistance though. Spirit told me to cut you off.
Okay, cool.
Weaponized intuition
Oh,
to avoid hard
I thought
conversations.
you were telling me that way. All right, cool.
No.
I totally understand that.
When
I've
it
been
gets
there.
masked as spirituality,
Mhm.
Spirit told me to cut you off, but you're really just avoiding the hard conversation, which kind of is the same way as using I'm just protecting my energy.
Man, that's abusive.
Or I only align with high vibe people.
Yeah, that one.
Abandoning others before you get abandoned. In a sense, you're also putting yourself on a pedestal and putting them below you.
Huh.
I am a high vibrational being.
I don't need to be
And so
around
I can't
you.
be around you because you're down here. Where's the authenticity in here? It wouldn't, oh my gosh, offend you. That's what it would. It wouldn't offend you if that's not what you're doing. If you are being true to yourself, everything sits. You can feel it in your body.
Well, and on top of that, I think also if like you hit a certain point with your awakening, your journey, your authenticity, you hit a certain point when you step into authenticity where you can recognize when somebody's words hold truth, even if they use them hurtfully. And you can own that, you can accept it, and you don't have to react from it. You can, and it's like, oh man, at some point, honestly, when I have those moments with people, I haven't gone as far as to thank them yet because I know it'll come off all snarky and whatnot. But I am truly grateful that they call me out, that I get the things, because then I get to see myself.
Yeah.
And then I get to take the filter off, and then I get to observe, and then I get to see how I want to react, see if it's in alignment with how I'm actually acting. All of those things.
I have a lot of wounds, spiritual wounds from church that I've been working on. And I just, it always hurts more in spiritual spaces because we come raw. The giving in, the giving yourself over, the surrender, the really digging into the deep hurts and getting raw with somebody. That quick connection that you feel, we're often seeking what we never had. There's a community there. There's a village in spiritual spaces, a family, a mirror. And when those wounds get poked at by the very people who are supposed to feel safe, it cuts twice as deep. Be authentic. Be true to yourself.
Remember that religion hurts because it's full of unhealed people trying to learn how to be healed. And religion starts from the outside and works in. And so as we see
Spirituality
is inside out.
Religion is organized.
Well, really, it is. But if you look at the things, and I'm not going to say all religion, but most, if we're gonna, you know what? I'm just going to say it. We're going to
Do it.
step on Christianity. It starts outside in. It's not about faith in self. It's about faith in God. It's not about faith in your own works. It's about faith through the works of God, and it's beautiful. And I'm not thumbing my nose at it, but it's recognizing that having faith in yourself to be able to do the things that God allowed for you to do. He created you. He gave you talents. He gave you the ability to have free agency. Free agency, really, I mean, you want to break down free agency to something super simple in a naturistic way. We are given the opportunity to decide whether we are going to coexist with the earth or use it at our discretion. No other species on our planet gets that opportunity unless it's through influence of humans. All right. So if that's the case, then believing in God, if you will, is part of that is believing in yourself and recognizing that what God gave you, you can use. Right. The good works through God is awesome, but you still got to be able to recognize the amount of belief and trust that you have in yourself to be able to carry those works out in His name. So, people in religion don't very often look at themselves to see how they can become God-like, if you will. They are focused on what works can I do that scream, I am Christian? What things can I abstain from to scream that I am Christian? And they may not recognize it in that manner. But that's why it's hard when you're in a religion to get that lashback, because you're like, oh, it's religion. We're all supposed to be godlike. We're all supposed to love each other. We're all supposed to not judge each other. We're all supposed to do these things, and it's not happening. But honestly, can you learn to not do those things until you start going within? You can't understand people past the ability to understand yourself. And the more you understand yourself, the more aspects of yourself that you see, the more aspects of others that you see. And then it's the whole circle. So I think it helped me to get through a lot of my whole religious trauma when I recognized that their starting point, their direction, doesn't really allow for them to just start with themselves and work outward.
My whole experience contradicts all of that.
Does it?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's wild.
When I stepped away from the church, I had to find trust in myself again. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust people. So I had to find trust in myself and my own steps and find out what I was and then move outward. And once I found me, I could be radically honest, which is the medicine for all this stuff in the spiritual community. The way that you can sit in a community and try and create it, or try and
to become a pivot
to make
point.
to make it a safe place. You know, no matter where you go, you're going to have people that are going to have toxic tendencies, if you will. But
you
find that everywhere. Just like every job that you have, you're going to find somebody you're not going to get along with.
And the only thing you can do is shut up or say something. And you see what shutting up does.
Radical honesty. Be honest with yourself and be honest with the people around you. If you hole up and you don't speak your truth and don't tell people that they're making you feel a certain way or that you're not feeling the things that they're talking about, you're going to find yourself stuck in situations you don't want to be in. Slow earned trust. Slow earned trust. We don't just latch on right away and take it for face value. You got to learn to trust yourself. And then you'll find that your intuition will let you know whether or not these people are trustworthy or not.
Remember, withholding is its own type of freedom. To be able to be unapologetically you, to step into that and be completely committed to a cause, doesn't mean that you give up everything. Doesn't mean that you're willing to dive into every aspect. It doesn't mean you give trust full on board. But it means that you have the mental and emotional capacity to choose when and what you will allow, because that is your freedom to be able to just be like, all right, okay, I want to do these things with this group of people, and I think we would have fun as a group, but I'm just not quite there yet. Maybe I should hang out with one or two of them and make that be okay. You don't have to feel like you need to invite the whole group and make people feel like maybe they're going to be singled out or don't get to attend. Like, you get to choose your circle, you get to choose the people you hang out with, you get to choose how open and accepting you get to be with the new people in your group. Yeah, you get to choose whether you want to have a second. I don't know. I don't want to call it a date, because when you're making friends, like your hangouts, though, your first hangout session tells you everything, right? And then you shouldn't
Everybody
make yourself.
puts their best foot forward for the first date, anyways.
Do
So,
they though?
most people do.
They sure try. Oh wow, you guys, we have like a full-on
It is busy over here.
barking
There's so much
fiasco.
traffic. There's lots of people.
A lot of people
It's a different
walking.
park. And this little ankle biter dog just likes barking at nothing. He was barking at the tailgate of my truck earlier.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Whoa, look at that red truck.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, some more medicine. Communities that allow repair, not just performative positivity. Like Brayden was saying, you should be able to disagree or challenge a thought or bring something that is unconventional forward. And a spiritual community, a spiritual space, a sacred space would hold space for you to do that, to repair yourself, not just that face value. Oh, give it to God, and he'll handle it. Or blessings. I wish all the healing energy on you. Bye.
No. You shouldn't do it like that. It's not. It's only. This is how you should do it. This is how you should do it. Yeah. That one I have a hard time with, when people decide
For you.
Yep. I'm like, you can give me your ideas, and I would love to talk to you about them. But if you're gonna shut me down before I can speak and tell me this is the way,
I know exactly what that is. It's this, and this is what you need to do.
Yep. And then you ask the why. No, you just need to do it. Okay.
Radical honesty, man. Spaces where you're allowed to show up messy, emotional, and still be worthy of being held. Those are sacred spaces.
Right there, right now. The hair's all over the place.
So yeah, attachment wounds live in our altars, our retreats, our circles, but they don't have to own us. Once we name them, we start healing. Recognizing them.
Once you accept them, you guys, it's okay to accept your flaws and faults. They're not really flaws and faults. They're just things we don't understand yet. And we can't understand them until we're willing to accept that they're there.
So what does sacred solitude look like versus your chosen community? Solitude is sacred, but when it becomes your only way of being, that's isolation. That's armor. Solitude fills the cup. Community lets you drink from it. You're not meant to heal alone forever.
Nope.
Solitude has its place. It is sacred. That the liminal spaces that we were talking about, the in between. It is soul healing.
But remember, guys, God is balance. Balance is God.
It's you, stripped bare, communing with your own breath, your own spirit. But when solitude becomes your only sanctuary, when you convince yourself that no one will ever understand you, when it turns into exile and not empowerment, that's not healing anymore. That's hiding.
Man, and honestly, I think I understand wanting people to understand you. I get that. But also, like, how can people understand you if you're not willing to be
seen
radically you in every sense of the word? Like, I sing random bits and snippets of songs with the wrong lyrics just because I can't remember the right ones. And I get comments on it all the time. But you know what? I'm never going to stop. And, maybe one day I'll be able to sing lyrics right every time I sing random lyrics. But until that happens, I get to have fun with goofy lyrics and see the fun, awkward, and odd reactions that people give me for my word choices sometimes. Yeah.
So what do you think the purpose of solitude is? When I said what I said in the beginning about solitude, I said you can't heal in solitude.
Oh,
You can't do all the healing in solitude.
you can't do all the healing in solitude. But I don't know. Maybe I had a thought. That was so long ago.
What is the purpose of solitude? Why do we hole up? Why do we go into ourselves?
Because there's no external energies toying with us. You get to sit and recalibrate whether you recognize that that is what you are doing.
You are resetting your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
You get to hear your own voice, your own thoughts above the static, the noise. You shed the outside influences. You are in your own center, your peace that you create.
You know, and
Solitude fills the cup. It's the temple where I pour back into myself. My solitude is my sacred space. It is curated for me to reset.
I don't put much importance on my solitude. Not like it's not important, but my focus for like the recharge that you're talking about is getting to like talk with people all day. Sometimes I
feel like that's more community though.
And you're not wrong, I guess, but that's like two sides of the same coin, right?
Where do you
The thing that my solitude gives me is space.
Where
to
is
have
your
my
solitude?
thoughts. Where is my solitude?
Yeah.
What do you mean? My solitude is anywhere I choose it to be. I don't have like a specific location or a specific setup. It's just when I need solitude, I'm gonna get it in one shape or another. Whether that's hanging out in my bedroom or
That's
going
kind
on a
of
nature
funny.
walk.
That is real funny because
Like-
the more that I think about it and the more that we're talking about it, like my bedroom was my place, my house was my place I holed up into. But then, I mean, I always go through the cycle where I gotta be alone and then we gotta have chaos and then I gotta be alone and we gotta have chaos. And now we're in the moment of chaos. So where's my alone time? I hole up in my bedroom.
But that's not really
That's-
solitude.
Yeah. And then it had me thinking about like other people I know that are always on the move and they don't have like one place. So like no home per
Mhm.
se, or they're always in a vehicle. But you still get that isolation. You still get that solitude, that refilling of your cup from something.
Yeah, I think for me, solitude happens when I choose an action for myself, like going for a walk, choosing the place that excites me the most. Yesterday, I wanted to go on a walk super bad, super bad. I kept bringing it up. I was like, I want to go on a walk. A walk is where I want to go. Alba was finally like, let's go to Riverfront Park and go for a walk. Yes. Yes, and that for me is a moment of solitude, and that's the beauty of it. Is like my moments of solitude don't have to be peopleless.
You know what I find? The people that go on walks with me, I only over the last year, I guess, maybe a little bit longer, realized that I get anxious because I really don't want people to talk the entire time.
That's why you play music.
Yeah, kind of. But then it kind of takes away from the birds chirping and the sound and everything of being in nature. So, like, I like going walking with people, but, well, you know, I don't even really hang out with people who feel the need to fill the silence. I very much prize those people around me that can sit in silence with me.
Yep.
It's a big deal. Community, man. So here's the catch with isolation, though. When you stop reaching out, even if you're suffering, you tell yourself, I'm just recharging, but you're numb. Remember this authenticity with yourself, the radical honesty. Are you recharging or are you just sitting in ick? Does it feel like you're recharging or do you feel like something's wrong? Your body knows that you're isolating itself. You dread group gatherings.
Are you feeling restless? Are
Ooh.
you bored? Do all of your habits that you chase around in your house all day bring you any sense of accomplishment
Or
or
fulfillment?
satisfaction?
Mm.
And I'm not saying go do something productive with your life. I'm saying go do something real with your life, something
Or
you
just
want.
admit to yourself that you're at that point to where it's not sacred. What do they call
Alone
it?
time anymore.
Yeah, it's not
Sacred
sacred solitude anymore.
Jinx.
You are isolating. So be honest with yourself. If you can reach that point, maybe you recognize it and you don't want to admit it to yourself. So then maybe test yourself. Do the thing that you picked up.
Oh man,
Did it feel satisfying in the end?
I avoided my work the other day. I avoided ChatGPT because they said they would remind me as soon as I reached out to them. And I took a nap, and then I played video games for an hour, and then I death scrolled my phone for 3. All right, I had the worst case of the dysfunction, the executive function dysfunction. It was terrible, like yelling in my own head, just get up and move. And then I sat down the next morning and I broke it down, and I recognized I only ate a few chicken strips for the entire day. I didn't bother to try and eat when I got home. I
Ooh.
laid down on my bed, which is like, all right, time to relax mode, right? So that was my other big no-no. That morning, the morning before that had started off that whole day of tomfoolery, I had done a lot of spiritual deep diving with the help of my AI, which is, guys, anytime you get into something spiritual, it takes its toll. Like, your integration takes energy. You know, it's
There is such a thing as positive stress.
yes, but it still makes you tired regardless. You know, so now I'm seeing a pattern here. It's like, and I didn't do my dishes, so my house wasn't in order. I didn't give myself enough sustenance to keep up with the chemicals that my brain needs. I did a lot of mental heavy lifting that first thing that morning. And had I made those realizations and been aware of them and made appropriate choices to counteract that, I probably could have had a productive day. But the beauty of it is you get to see that. So, you know, guys, when you're in your solitude,
Maybe you'll be able to recognize it a little quicker in them.
exactly. So when you're in your solitude moments, like, start looking at the external that might be pushing the internal flux. Like, yes, you want to go inside. Yes, that's your happy place. Yes,
It feels safe.
it's, and all of those things. But then you've got to question those feelings. What in my outward experience is forcing these feelings, these thoughts, these, what you call it? It's like, is it an unkept house? Is it an unkept promise for a due date to hang out with friends? Is it being behind on bills or being behind on your to-do list? Like, what's got you stuck? Because I promise you, if your solitude is in some kind of form of, I don't want to call it toxicity, but some form of not being beneficial to you, odds are there's something you're avoiding.
I don't know. I like calling it masking.
It's that Alba. Hey, beautiful.
What are you doing? The medicine of community, guys. You don't need a crowd. You just need a circle. People who see your shadows and don't flinch. People who reflect your worth when you've forgotten it yourself.
And it's a numbers game, guys. As you become more of yourself, step more into your authenticity, it is harder to find those people because, I mean, look at how much work it's taken you. Look at how much you had to push yourself to be able to be where you are. So you can't expect that of everybody around you.
No, but just like learning to communicate in a relationship. You have to learn how to communicate in friendships. Any relationship, be it friends, family,
Any level of friendship. Yep. And that's really
you need
hard.
to learn how to communicate, and not everybody's going to be at that same level of communication with you.
Well, and then ask yourself, what is your level of social experience? Like, mine pretty much stopped at high school. I got married and I got secluded. And that wasn't entirely by choice.
Are you coming?
But, you know, it happened.
Okay, so just so we're all aware, Alba is sitting in her car
Hello.
right there and she won't come over. So she's just gonna creepily watch us.
I was gonna do the same thing for like 20 minutes, but then I thought that was a bit much, so I didn't.
We appreciate you, Alba. Thanks for watching. 2 ways. Oh, I had something I was gonna add there.
I don't even
But
remember what
another
we were
part
saying.
is people look for people who hold space for you without trying to fix you.
Look for people that are trying, man. Like,
Ooh.
you know, I'm not, because like, yeah, it's great to find people that are on your level, and they're few and far between. So when you get them, you cherish them. But there are a lot of good people out there that are trying. They're doing the work. Maybe they need you to be able to show them a side of themselves they have not been able to see, or haven't had the right person to show it to them in a way that they can see the reflection. So, like, get excited for those moments, because as you get to have those moments with people, there's something in there for you too. Because you create your own reality, and everything around you is an outward reflection of an inward set of emotion, thoughts, and feelings. You know, so
I just want to touch on one more time. People who hold space for you without trying to fix you. I cannot express enough how meaningful this is to me. I don't know if it's just because I'm a female, but when you bring something up and you just want to be seen, whether it's happy, whether it's sad, just listen. Somebody who just listens and sees me, it hits on such a deep level inside of me that I can't express it enough. Not needing to be fixed. Like, I might be broken, I might be crying, but I don't need solutions right now. I just need you to listen.
do you think that the whole trying to talk to people and then them trying to fix you, and I remember being in that stage where I wanted to fix everybody. Do you think that is like a direct reflection of you telling the world, I need to be fixed? I want to fix others because there's fixing that I can't do in myself. So it reflects in others because you see the things that others are going through, and then
that might be a part of it. From my own personal experience, when I would bring up and try to fix people, was I had so much experience, and it was really hard to listen to people without memories of my own personal experience and how it relates to them. And then it became a big thing as soon as somebody was talking to me or venting to me about something, like, oh yeah, I understand exactly how you feel because this thing happened to me and this is what I did to fix it.
Did you ever go through a stage though? Because like I'm right there with you, but did you ever go through a stage where you would go out of your way to find that? And I'm not saying like you're going up and looking at people like, do you have problems that you need help with? But you eavesdrop on conversations with people you don't even know. You run the scenario of how you would tell them to fix it in your own mind, whether you actually follow through with telling them or not. You're like, you find that you have a lot of fake friends, superficial friends, because they feel that need, because they're willing to come cry their whole problems of the world onto your shoulders.
It makes me think of being addicted to drama.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, I remember myself, I definitely
That sounds like
phase.
my teenage years.
Yes, most definitely. Mine even bled into my mid-20s, I think, just a little bit.
I mean, I definitely enjoy people watching.
I love to people watch too.
It's another Alba, not me. I think it's a response to the feeling in them that they wished somebody would have been there for them.
So they're doing what they can to help those around them.
Someone
Definitely.
to truly listen and walk beside, not fix. Yes. Just being present, just having somebody be present. It means so much to just have somebody hold space for you without trying to do anything else, to just hold space for you. Community lets you drink from the cup that you filled in solitude. It says you're allowed to be here while healing. You don't have to come in perfect. You just have to come in present.
And you don't even have to pour your cup into mine. Yep. You can just simply be with your cup.
So how do you know when you're hiding? What are some questions that you could test yourself with? Ask yourself, am I avoiding people because they drain me or because I don't want to be seen?
Or do I, yeah, well, and like that whole draining thing, I'd take it a step farther and ask yourself, are you imposing the drain on yourself, or is the person that you're feeling this way about actually draining? Because sometimes it's just draining to think about the scenario because you just lived through it before you even know how it actually happens, and then you're tired. You're like, I don't
That
want
is
to
a
go through
very
that
good
again.
point to make.
Yep.
Do I feel energized by solitude, or am I secretly bitter and unseen?
Or am I getting needy? Like, I know from personal experience, when I experience too much solitude, I start like reaching out to people that I haven't talked to in a really long time just to get a conversation. And and then I realize, like, I'm not even looking for meaningful conversation.
You're
I
just looking
want
for someone to be there.
not even somebody to maybe a little bit
It's
of
like
somebody to be there.
scrolling through your contacts and then hoping that somebody's
No,
going to reach
you're
out.
exactly right. Because the other way that I find that I mask with that is I will put on sitcoms specifically, because sitcoms is like something that the world watches, and it's something that everybody can talk about. So I kind of feel like, oh, I'm present with the world in this moment, and it's this weird,
I
satisfying
really,
community.
really had to dig into that because well, you already know, I have an issue with silence. So I would put on music all the time. And a lot of the time it'd be lo-fi, and then it switched to positive and empowering music. And it had a purpose. But then there's certain times where, in the same sense, I'm turning on TV just for background noise.
Whoa. But there's a difference here. Because, like, having the
I don't
TV
know,
on...
man,
No,
because
hold on.
I was excusing it away.
Yeah, but hold on here. Because, like, if I wanted to fill the silence, I have lo-fi, I have IMAX, I have Netflix, I have my music list. I have so many options, but I specifically would pick out the sitcoms because it felt like I was around people. And it wasn't because of the people that were talking on the sitcom, it's because I knew that there were other people in my community watching it.
Mine was kind of manic.
Yeah?
Yeah. So when I wanted to fill the silence, it couldn't just be filled with anything. It had to be something that made me feel the way that I was looking for. So if I wanted to feel like there were good people around me, I could turn on my favorite show or a sitcom, and then I'd feel like there are good people around me. Yeah. Or I wanted to change the feeling of the atmosphere. But I would get to the point where I'd turn on something and be like, okay, it's not quiet. This doesn't make me feel right. Okay, I gotta change it to something else. This isn't the right noise. This isn't the right noise, man.
I was like that.
It doesn't make me feel good.
I was like that.
And like that's a good point to recognize in myself that I was isolating. Mm-hmm. What I was searching for was the connection of other people.
Wow.
I wasn't gonna get it from just noise.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but because I was putting on so much noise, I was purposely avoiding my inner thoughts, because when there was silence,
those would pop out because they hadn't been out there. Sorry to like take this a look, but look at that.
The pretty sunset.
It's gorgeous.
Can we shift that? Do you guys want to see the pretty sunset?
Behind the trees.
Ooh.
Boom.
It's gorgeous. Woo. Woo. Yeah, but admitting that to myself was one step in and of itself.
Oh no, keep it sideways. That's fun.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
You know, I have a friend that I take pictures and I'd send them to her, and I would purposely make them cockeyed, and it would literally drive her insane. And I would send her like 4
Of course you would.
Yeah,
of course you would.
Good times, good times.
So safe co-regulation. Healing in the presence of others. What does that feel like? What does it look like? Trauma happens in relationship. So does healing.
Yeah.
Our nervous systems need to learn that it's safe to rest in front of others. And that it won't be punished for needing, that we can feel and not be left. And you didn't get wounded in isolation.
And when you can truly step into the feeling that you get to receive, when you truly receive the feeling in vulnerability, you hit a point where you're like, it feels good to feel. It would suck to feel hurt, but that chance of feeling hurt is outweighed by how good it feels to feel those other feelings. The being accepted, the being able to have community, the feeling of taking bold steps in directions you don't know where they're gonna go, and then it works out, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so alive. I get it now. I understand why people are like, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. I never understood that until now, and now it like I'm on
Living
that
life
boat.
without regrets, opportunities that you didn't take.
Well, and if you can let go of regrets, and like you're never gonna have a terrible day. Well, I can't say you're never gonna have a terrible day in your life, but you're never gonna have wishful thinking about your life because you're living in action. You're living in the moment. You gotta reflect on the past and do it with a sense of nostalgia because they're moments worth remembering. But if you don't put forth the effort to have those moments, you're never gonna have them. So get present.
Learn that it's, our nervous systems need to learn that it's safe to rest in front of others. You didn't get wounded in isolation. We were ignored, abandoned, invalidated, or broken in the presence of others. Parents, partners, communities, teachers.
Can you read those words from where you're sitting?
You're gorgeous.
You can read those words from where you're sitting?
Not for
I have contacts on and I can't read that.
I need glasses.
You need but you can read that.
I mean, I can kind of.
Better than I can.
I can pick out little bits. I can recognize that it's probably this word.
Based off the shapes and structure of this weird blur.
Yeah, that's how I get through life being half blind.
I feel that.
So, your nervous system learned I'm not safe when I'm vulnerable. Love equals pain. If I need, I'll be punished or left. So what did you do? You built armor. You built all this armor. You self-regulated. You taught yourself how to soothe. You do your own self-soothing. You got yourself. You stuff it down and you smile through it and you say, I'm fine. That is armor. It kept you alive. That's surviving. We need to learn to start living, not surviving anymore. We're not in a threat. We're not threatened. But you need to coax your nervous system out of that survival phase that you're in and come to the living.
And that's hard. That's really hard. Like, and honestly, you guys, that what you just said, you need to say it again.
Coax your nervous system.
In order to coax your nervous system, you have to have social interaction.
Co-regulation.
Yep.
Co-regulation is the medicine. Your nervous system was denied. It's the experience of safety in the presence of another regulated being. It's someone sitting beside you. Not fixing, not preaching, just being a safe anchor while your storm rages.
Yeah.
How many people do you have in your life? Wouldn't it be amazing to find another one or to find one?
And
they exist out there, man.
And it's as simple as asking yourself, am I reacting from survival mode? Am I allowing myself the opportunity to have that social interaction?
What does it sound like? What does another regulated being sound like? To be your anchor while your storm rages.
It's okay, Cindy, you got this. I'm right here when you're ready to talk, but I'm going to make us some food while I wait, okay?
You're not crazy. You don't have to do this alone. You can cry here. You're safe here. Why is this vital? Why is this vital? Because healing doesn't mean learning to be alone better.
So this just means starting with doing that for others, I think. Like if you have a hard time being that for yourselves, you can start by being that for others so you can see the process to be able to start having somebody be that for you. Not to mention what you do for yourself, you do for others, right? So
if you find that you are still in isolation, practicing these tactics on yourself, being your own best friend is a good way to get to know yourself.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I talk to myself all the time.
And that, I can't remember who said it, but I might have read it. but treat yourself like you would treat your best friend. That has been a
Oh
big
my
one for
gosh.
me. So when it comes to like the self-love, love languages, healing, all this stuff like that you could do for other people, I turn that on myself.
If I had $1 for every time she said that, I would be a rich man.
It works. I mean, just the perspective really works.
It really does.
Would you treat me the way that you treat yourself sometimes? When you are so mean to yourself, when you do your self-negative hate talk, would you say that shit to me?
I do.
No, you don't.
I do. I treat you like I treat me.
Not like the
Mhm.
icky mean
But
you.
I'm not icky mean to myself. I
Not
used to be.
anymore. Not anymore.
You're right. You're right. At one point in time,
But there are some thoughts that think through that brain of yours, and there are
You're not
certain
wrong,
things that come
because-
through, and I definitely wouldn't say them to you. I
It-
wouldn't say them to my friends. I wouldn't say them to my
and
husband.
you're not wrong, because like the moment I can think of those things that I've said to myself, if I would have said them to a friend, I can already see how I would have said it differently. Oh my gosh. So maybe that's what it takes, guys. Maybe you need to ask yourself, how do I share this as if I was saying it to my best friend? Like, it's one thing to say, treat myself as I treat my best friend. But if you put yourself in the scenario, like really get balls deep with it and be like, okay, all right, I just said this terrible, nasty thing to myself. I know this isn't how I say it to my friend, so how would I say it to my friend? And then repeat that back to yourself out loud, out loud, out loud, out loud. Somatic healing.
Healing doesn't mean learning to be better alone. It means rewriting the story that says connection equals pain. Every time someone stays while you unravel, every time someone breathes with you, not over you.
What if it feels so good it hurts?
Even your body starts whispering, maybe this time it's different. Maybe I can soften here. Maybe
can
I
open
don't
up
have
there.
to brace myself anymore. Tense up.
Well, and see, and when then that goes back to boundaries, because as you set boundaries, you're choosing what kind of people are stepping into your life, and you've got to recognize if you've gotten good at boundaries, you've gotten good at cutting people off when you see the things, then that's your cue. You are ready to step into getting vulnerable with the people that come your way that pass that boundary marker, and they check the vibe, or they pass the vibe check, like, all right, cool, this person is in line with what I'm doing. There's a little bit off about them and it's kind of weird, but you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna get vulnerable. I'm gonna say hi. Want to be my friend?
I mean, if you're doing it without co-regulating, just think, all this isolation does for you, you keep spiraling in your head, thinking that it's processing, but you have nobody to bounce it off with and to pull you out of your rut that you keep finding your thoughts going in. You numb out, you hyperanalyze yourself. And then while you're doing the work, you still feel unseen. You burn out trying to be your own healer, therapist, and witness all at once. And speaking of therapists, that is a form of community healing.
Oh yeah.
You have group therapists. It pulls you out. And then not only when you're talking to your own therapist or counselor, it gives you an opportunity to try and work it out with others.
Oh, not only that, but you get to see other people's perspective, and something might click for you. Like, oh my gosh, that's what I needed to hear. Or, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh no, that's me. Okay, I'll listen in. I'll get some insight.
And maybe you going to a therapist or a counselor can also let the other people know. We all know there's a stigma around this. Seeing a counselor, taking pills, or being depressed is weak. It's got a whole thing around it. And it's beautiful because over the years lately, it is becoming more of a
open.
Yeah, like what, you're not going to therapy? You're not working on yourself? Why not?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, because, back in the day when you hear somebody's doing therapy, you're like, oh, shit, they're crazy. Like,
what happened?
Yeah.
What did you get
traumatic
diagnosed
event
with?
really slapped you in the face? Do I want that baggage? That's really how it used. That was like, and I say this because I hear men talk, right? Like, and they don't really. I speak for all men here, and you can slap me if you want, but we don't use that 2 cents very often when it comes to articulating. And so, yeah, I've heard some pretty crass things when it comes to people in therapy over the years growing up. And definitely have loved to see the switch in views on that. You know, I myself, I don't know if I could ever go to a therapist. I'm too cheap. Ah, but I think that if there was somebody that were to recommend me to a said therapist because of what they have to offer and it's intriguing enough, I would definitely look into checking it out because that's just an opportunity to improve on myself. And if I can see an opportunity to improve on myself, then I'm okay with investing whatever it takes to get something like that, you know?
It really is, though. You are investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm. And you
And
can never
why
go
aren't
wrong.
you worth investing in?
And you guys, when you choose to invest in yourself, it breaks the scarcity mindset. Helps you choose you and all that other noise.
Co-regulation is sacred. It's subtle and it rewires your nervous system. That is a cool bike.
I've been seeing them everywhere. You guys, I wanted an electric bike. I've been looking at one for the
I'm
last
gonna
month
see it
and a
pass.
half, and it is everywhere.
Is it gonna pass? Is it gonna pass?
I don't think it's
Oh, kind of.
not
You
too
can
hard,
see it
though.
pass. It's so smooth.
Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. It's like the yellow truck. I see a yellow truck, and then I see a yellow truck.
Squirrel!
Like that. Yeah. It's nuts. It's driving me insane. I'm like, am I going to get one? Am I not? What does this mean?
That just looked really cool.
I want
Okay.
one.
Co-regulation is sacred. It's subtle and it rewires your nervous system. Healing alone proves that you can survive. You've already done proved that. Who else is there left to prove it to? You don't need to prove it to anyone. Healing together shows that you can thrive.
Ooh, thrive.
One teaches you resilience while the other teaches you trust.
You get a lot farther with trust.
Belonging is a spiritual need. It's not a weakness. It's not the words escape me.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I don't know.
But it's not those things.
You'd be lying if you said that you didn't want to belong. Everybody has this base instinct
To belong. But you got to ask yourself, like,
to want to belong.
how do you want to belong? Is really like what it boils down to, right? Like, there is a way that we all want to be able to be in society. For some people, it's being able to jump from group to group to group. For other people, it's being the center of attention of a specific group. For other people, it's being able to just go out and make friends on the drop of a dime, you know? Like,
I don't fit anywhere. Isn't just an observation. It is a wound.
is it a wound?
It is a wound.
Oh.
Let's kill the myth. Let's kill the myth. Needing others doesn't make you broken. Longing to belong doesn't make you fragile. It makes you human. It means that you're alive. From the moment that we enter this world, our nervous systems, we're asking one question. Am I safe here? Will I be met? Belonging is biological, emotional, and spiritual.
It starts with family. I mean, think about it. Like, that's the first place you get to
It's more than a
belong.
social connection, though. It's a soul placement.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, because like you start with somebody in your life, right? Mom, dad, grandma, brother, sister. There's somebody that you really connect with. So that sense of belonging starts at such a young age that it's perpetual. It's societal. It's encoded in DNA. You know, like it hits on so many facets of life. It's not something to be ashamed of desiring.
It's the feeling of home in a heartbeat, of recognition in someone else. When belonging is denied or distorted, it becomes a wound that you carry into every room. You shrink yourself to fit. You isolate to protect yourself. You pretend that you don't care. But inside, you ache. You sabotage connection before it can even be rejected.
Yeah.
You keep proving yourself to people who were never your people to begin with.
Yeah.
And that rejection over time, it really feels like it's your fault over time.
Choosing to distance yourself because you think it's for the betterment of somebody else, which, by the way, is very selfish. Don't do that. Because you're denying the person the opportunity to choose for themselves whether they get to be in your life and whether they want to share the ups and downs of it with you. Yep.
A soul that doesn't feel belonging becomes a ghost
in its own life.
Ooh.
You end up questioning your own worth.
You become an NPC.
Really? I'd go a little further than that. You mistake approval for connection. You stay in rooms that don't feel safe because you're starving for recognition. It almost becomes attention seeking in a masked way. It's not the attention seeking that we normally see, but fishing for compliments almost. Fishing for, did I do good? Did I do it okay?
Check this out. Look how far I've gotten on it.
Yeah. You end up drifting from your own path. You try to make yourself digestible for other people. And that is not authentic. And your body feels that, guys. Your body knows when you are lying to yourself. And when you fail to show up for yourself, you are just reaffirming that nowhere is safe because not even you will be there for you.
Ooh, not even you will be there for you.
You need to show up for yourself. That's where trust starts forming.
Let's start
is trusting in yourself.
Yep. Start
if you can't trust your own decisions that you make, the path that you're on, the things that come out of your mouth, and you just can't trust you, how are you going to find the ability to trust somebody else? So take the time when you're in isolation to really be with you.
Trust and belief go hand in hand. You've got to believe that you can have that trust, that you can build that trust. And then through building the trust, you get to believe that you can continue to have that trust. And then you get more of that trust, and then you continue to believe. So it's an ever evolving cycle of the two. They compound on each other. So have a little faith in yourself. Take some baby steps. See what happens. Get scared. Get hurt. Get vulnerable.
How can we recognize what belonging feels like when it doesn't feel like we're blending in?
When it doesn't take from your cup.
When it's not about you being liked.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even about being understood completely. It's just being received as you are. Messy, raw, radiant, contradictory.
So receive yourself first.
You.
Be those things. Be those things for yourself in
You don't
public.
have to shrink here. You don't have to earn your seat. You are enough. Right now. And it's a spiritual need.
Go to your local Walmart and make funny noises while walking down the aisles and see how you feel. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways you can get... I'm serious, guys. Get weird with yourself.
There's a guy on TikTok. What's his name? He really goes on about being okay with being you, being weird, mismatched shoes, being just screaming in the middle of a crowd. That's what he does a lot of the time. Is he brings a person on stage and he'll tell them to just scream or make a weird noise, and they'll do it like halfway. Like that's not your full effort. Come on, scream, really scream, and they're just like, I can't. Like, why? You're scared that these people that you don't know are thinking that your voice somewhere? Just scream. Just yell. And there's so much fear behind being seen. We don't want people to see us.
We do, but we don't.
We do. We crave it, but we don't.
And I think a lot of that goes back to childhood. Think about the bullying that happened. Think about that favorite pair of earrings or sunglasses or shirt that you wore, and somebody made a stupid comment.
They're learned behaviors over time that we're working on tearing apart and building a new set of truths that resonate with us. I am not too much. I am not whatever these lies are.
Whatever these lies are. I've said it so many times, guys. You know what we're talking about. We're not those things. We're not those things.
The soul awakens through connection, because community isn't just support, it is mirroring. We need people to reflect the sacred in us that we have forgotten. We need other queens to lift up other crowns and place them on their heads. We need witnesses to our rising.
Do your part.
Even mystics need midwives. Even witches need a circle. Even light needs a place to land. Belonging isn't about finding a place that accepts your performance. It's about finding a place that recognizes your essence. It's not weakness.
Drinking from an empty cup.
It's sacred necessity. Because we don't just want to be seen. We want to be known.
You know why we want to be known, you guys? Because it's not that we want people to know us. It's that we want to self-express unapologetically. It's really what like when you look at the things of your life, when you look at living in authenticity, I've come to see really just means being able to be me on this earth without having to cater or condition.
Giving yourself permission to be you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like really a lot of it over time is just you slowly over time taking away your own permission.
Mm-hmm. And then vice versa, rediscovering yourself, remembering your soul. Like I've been hearing a lot lately. Your soul has already chosen its path, right? Like you're gonna go down that path regardless. But it's up to you to decide how you're going to experience the path that you're gonna go down. And when you see that, when you're like, all right, cool. So I don't have to worry about where I'm going. I'm gonna get taken there anyway. That lets me sit in the moment, and I get to create those nostalgic memories. That moment when I gobbled somebody in the middle of the parking lot and they looked at me with the strangest look on their face, you know? And then no explanation afterwards, just a smile and a wave and a walk away. And being you gets you around other people. Like being you is showing people it's okay to be human, right? And I think that's the first big icebreaker. One of the big icebreakers you can have is when you're showing somebody your authenticity, you're showing them it's okay to be however you want to be without a care in the world. Then you're showing them, hey, look, it's okay to be human. Hey, look, I don't even judge myself, so I'm probably not going to judge you, you know? And then they feel safe. And in so doing, you get the opportunity to connect with them and build the trust that you just sparked. So look for the weird people gobbling in the middle of Walmart and say hi.
Look for it in Walmart parking lots, making bird noises. I want to switch gears a little bit and touch on grieving the community that we never had. I feel like a lot of us watching are old enough to have had circles and communities that we thought were our sacred circle, and they weren't.
Well, maybe they were at the time, but it like outlived its purpose.
Could be,
what
yeah.
have you?
Or just grieving the village that you wish you had. There were absolutely times, lots of times, and I know some of my friends have heard me say it. I wish I had friends like me who show up like me. I feel like I was giving so much of myself and I wasn't getting it back. So in a sense, I feel like that is the village grieving that I didn't have because I set up my circle of friends willy-nilly, just let them all in, let them feed off of me, and then I had to filter them away. So I felt like I had a village, and then I lost a village, and then I recreated it over time. And I feel like the process has gotten better about filtering friends and just really being authentic. Like, there is no excuse for you to be like, why are you this way, Whitney? I have always been this way.
I look forward to that question. Man, you can answer that any way you want. You can get creative with it.
But I feel like there's something that lives in all of us, and it's heavy, and grieving over the village that we needed, not as a child, not as a teen, not even now. And I feel like it needs to hurt. It needs to hurt.
In what way?
Well, you're not going to do something about it unless it hurts enough.
Oh yeah, that goes back to the whole you gotta be disgusted with who you are as a person enough to like want to change. You know, you gotta like, I don't like me and where I'm at, so I want to do something different. I'm gonna go for broke because I got nothing to lose. Nobody can hurt me any more than I've already been hurt, whatever it is, you know?
Or some of us never had a circle. Some of us grew up with emotional deserts. Some of us were the strong one, the caretaker, the witch on the outskirts, and we don't even know how to receive being held. The mentors you needed, the elders who should have taught you how to hold your power, or cry without shame, or rest without guilt. The friends who were supposed to see you without flinching. They weren't there. Or if they were, they couldn't give you what you needed.
They flinched hard. Whoa, I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Some of us keep thinking that we're broken because we're lonely. But we're not broken, we're grieving.
That's always been a weird concept to me.
Being broken?
It's like, yeah, I don't, like, sure, I've got a lot of work. I'll be the first to admit that. But I've never seen myself as broken. I've seen myself as, like, inefficient.
You've never felt at such a low that you were just incapable of being seen or understood?
No,
you were all messed up. Nobody could handle you.
I was scared that if I let it get to that point that I wouldn't be able to go back. So I was always very much like, all right, I'm a weirdo and people can't understand me. I'm not going to show them my weirdness, but it's going to be my little secret. I'm a weirdo. And, damn, all right, okay. I don't know what to do with that.
I really held on to the black sheep thing through high school.
I liked the black sheep thing.
It was my excuse for isolating, though. It wasn't what it should have fully been. I was absolutely embracing my weird in certain ways, and that's still there. There was some shock factor given to it. Like I'd wear trip gothic pants with a sparkly tutu sometimes just because it was weird.
I can't say that what were we just talking?
Black sheep.
Black sheep. I can't say that I can say I had the black sheep experience. I was definitely different from everybody in my family, but they were passive. I don't know. I can't even say they were passive.
I was stuck to the phrase, I was a black sheep. I didn't belong. But it wasn't, because I feel like the real thing behind the black sheep thing is that you got all these white sheep going this way and they're just following each other. But the black sheep goes against the grain. They're the leader. It's like the wolf in the sheep's clothing or whatever.
I always saw it as a stigma. Like, I'm the black sheep of the family.
The ugly duckling, the thing that doesn't belong, the one that goes a different direction.
Yeah, and so I guess that's why I never really
I used it as a crutch.
See, and I never got to do that. For me, seeing myself as a black sheep because of how my family treated me, it wasn't like oh man, he's not figuring out, oh, stay away from him, he's a bad influence. It's he's Braden and he's gonna do things his own way. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I can't get through to him. He's just gonna freaking do it, So in that instance, for me, being the black sheep was empowering because it showed me that I could, even if I had to learn the lesson the hard way, choose that hard way. Like, I was capable of that.
I don't feel like that's I can do it on my own. I can do it. I can make it through. It was like a survival thing instead of.
Mine was proving. I want to prove to you that I can do the thing. I want to prove you're wrong because you're always trying to tell me I'm wrong. That was a big one. That got me through a lot of hard decisions in my life.
So we're not broken.
Nope.
We're grieving. And no one told us that we're allowed to. We don't just mourn people. We mourn the guidance that we never received.
Oh, that's a big one.
The safety that we never had.
And we can't even really say never, really, but it was so spotty. It wasn't consistent.
The
it was
softness
so brief,
we had to learn to live without.
Ooh. I didn't have that either. My parents were really soft. I never got spankings. The one time I did, I laughed, and then Mom came up and got me, and then I laughed harder. And then I guess we just decided there were better ways to do things than smack out of anger, because I think my mom knew she would have lost it on me and I would not be here.
I watched this TikTok video of this couple, and they were talking about how they come from different childhoods.
Yeah.
And it's wild to think of somebody who doesn't have some sort of safe space, or they're not being a safe space, or like this couple was talking about. The husband he came from a family where there was a lot of appreciation. They wouldn't really sit together at a table, but there was lots of, I love you. You did a really good job. I'm proud of you. And the wife, she came from a family of immigrants, and you had roles that you played, and you were expected to fill those roles. And you were not going to get admiration or cheered on for doing the role that you are supposed to do.
Mm.
And if you ask for
Then
appreciation,
you
it's
get
like, what are
shamed.
you doing? Yeah, you get shamed. And so that dynamic of somebody who is used to receiving that and somebody who is used to being in trouble for doing that or for asking for that is wild.
That's a big one.
So
And
coming from
I don't want to touch that.
not having a community or not having that soft what did I say? That softness, learning how to live without the softness, not having the safety, the guidance. That grief is sacred. And you're not too sensitive for missing what you never had. But grief isn't the end. Grief is the threshold. Because now you get to build what you never had. And that is something that I really hold on to in building my sacred circle. I am creating the circle that I've wished I've had for a long time. I'm curating that peace that I've searched for. You get to become the elder that you needed. You get to offer that mirror to others. And you get to create the circle where no one gets left behind.
Authenticity
Where people are seen. So the power of being a circle is like, you know what heals faster than advice, what heals faster than solitude, faster than logic. Me too. That's it. That's the medicine. The first time someone says, I've been there. I thought I was alone too. You're not crazy. The shame cracks. The grief exhales. The armor starts to melt.
You're not alone. I'm right here.
Being seen. Man, someone holding space for you like that. Just sacred space for you to be authentically you. Messy. All of it. It's not a cult. It's not a clique. It's not even a hierarchy. The circle is shaped of equal presence. No one's above, no one's below. We're just mirrors, souls, truth bouncing off truth like fire off flint. It doesn't have to be witchy or pagan or religious. A circle is what forms when people show up real, authentic. It's the shape of trust. The shared experiences are alchemy itself. When you can be on that level with someone else, with a community, it transforms your experience. You're not going through it alone. It gives you different perspectives, really. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, if we call each other and we just I'm like, well, I heard that, I saw that, and this is what I see. Oh God, I got a different perspective because I was just stuck on this. The alchemy in shared experiences. Watching someone cry and they didn't need to fix it.
Okay, so for a moment, you may even have a lot of these things that we're giving examples for and seeing the negative in it, in the negative of how it actually went for you. And that's totally okay. But remember, you are remembering survival mode experiences. You have few to little of the trustful experiences. Now you are stepping into the threshold of creating those experiences so you have them to look back on so you can build on them. So don't sell yourself short. Don't say, yeah, right. You're like, well, it's not that for me. Or I've tried that. I've been there. I've done that. It doesn't work. If it's not working, it's because there's still stuff you gotta work on with yourself to get there. It's just the truth of it.
And it doesn't mean you can't do it again.
Yeah, and again,
you know, maybe
and
it's
again,
just
and
go
again.
back, do a little more work, and then go back out and try one more time.
Refocus the lens.
You're not alone. The feelings that you get when you have these shared experiences, to be seen crying and they don't feel the need to fix you. When you share your story and you're not shamed. separate, when you allow yourself to be seen, and then the world doesn't end. These moments, they rewire your nervous system. They rewire your brain. They get to tell your soul that you're not alone in the dark anymore.
You feel the shift.
You're not broken.
Your body
You're
feels
human.
the shift.
A circle isn't just a shape. It's a promise that no one's pain is too loud, that no one's journey is too much, that you belong, even when you forget your own worth.
Oh, is that why we had wedding rings created?
Ooh. I mean, there's a whole thing on wedding rings and the finger it goes on.
Yeah, tied to the heart and all that. But I mean, if a circle is a promise that nothing's too much, it's like a simplified version of what it means to give somebody a ring, right? The promise that they're never going to be too much. So if you can't take that seriously.
In that same video with the two different childhoods, the husband said something beautiful about how he gets the amazing opportunity to show his wife what love feels like, that she can be seen and she's not too much. He gets to provide a space for her to heal.
Dun, dun, dun.
It was a gorgeous video. Maybe I'll share it. So this has been like close to 2 hours. So I'm going to leave you guys with some reflections. Healing through community. What does community healing look like to you? What do you want your community
to
look
offer
like?
you? Oh.
I mean, I had lots of, in the same sense that you make a list of what you want your boyfriend to be like, I had the same thing for friends. This is what I've learned through times of being burned, being backstabbed, all the times that it didn't go right. I have found these things that I do not like. So as I meet people, radical honesty, man. I don't like that. I don't like when you interrupt me all the time. I do not like when you tell me that you're going to meet me here all the time and then you don't show up.
Confront what you don't like. Not because confrontation is a chance to be able to attack somebody, but like I always say, confrontation is an invitation to conversation. So when you see somebody that does something that checks off one of those I don't like it markers, talk to them about it. Not to attack them, not to put them in their place, but to be able to gain understanding and clarity so that you can move forward or cut it off. But you can't do either of those if you choose not to make a choice and decide to sit with it. And sometimes you do. You gotta be quiet, sit back and observe and really get the full picture before you go on the attack, so to speak. But I have found, man, if somebody says something I don't like, I ask them right away. I'm like, man, I took this way. This is how it felt when you said that. Like, what's going on? Is that what you meant? How did you mean what you said? Explain it better, whatever. Like, every time. Because I don't want to go through my day being pissed off at somebody for something that was a misunderstanding. And then you're being angry over something that you don't even have a clear result for. You're just like assuming at that point, oh, this person meant it this way. Fuck that guy. But did they mean it that way?
Radical honesty. Being authentic with you. When it rubs you the wrong way, be honest with yourself. Be honest with people.
Yep.
If you're going to create an intentional community around you, you got to be honest. Otherwise, you're going to let things in through the cracks that you don't like. The more that you soften your voice and you don't speak your truth, the more your circle becomes fake. So, what does your community look like? Where are you still wearing armor?
Nope, there's my daughter.
And what kind of circle do you long to step into? We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be present. You don't need to have it all together to be in a community. You just need to show up real. And after 2 hours, guys, we're going to call it.
Y'all have a great night. Oh, I missed my call anyway.
Oh, it's okay.
All right.
It's getting dark.
It is that time. I'm hungry.
So much. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Hasta
I know it was a
luego.
long one. Also, I'm going to
I'm gonna say that we are going to have an expo in Helena in October. So we are working on putting together a booth, and as the dates come up and the advertisement for it is put out there, we'll be sharing it. We have a lot of stuff that we're working on. We're both working on our life coaching classes now, and hopefully I'm done by the time October rolls around. And huge shout out to Crystal and Brittany and Jennifer for supporting my business, becoming a card reader membership. We got an esoteric membership. You guys all showing up here does so much for us. And I can't tell you how much it means to me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of my community. You guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Ugh.